Okay, now I just restarted it. So let me know if this is working better. If you're still with me, it's we got a new feed, and hopefully it's working. Stephen is watching. You are in the queue. Okay. So different people are appearing now. I guess I needed to restart. I guess so. Okay. Again, I'm going to open up. Welcome to the ORIN Oracles Live. Our special guest today is Stephen Williams. He's going to be joining us from Melbourne, Australia. And I'm here live in Orin Town, right in the heartland of the USA, where it's 13 degrees today. I know it's summer in Australia. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of redo what I did in that other one. And that is, I want to just take a minute to give you some updates. I have been re-editing the ORIN Oracles book. I needed to do that because I formatted it incorrectly in the first place, so now I'm formatting it correctly, and it's actually been a great opportunity because redoing it, I found tons of mistakes and typos, all sorts of goofy things, so I'm actually just excited. I'm recreating the book. So there will be 147 poems in it now. The total collection will be in that book. And if you'd like to participate and donate, you can at paypal.me/Weedu, WEEDU. And you'll get a signed and numbered copy of that book, as well as be in the acknowledgments as a contributor and supporter. But, furthermore, if you have enjoyed these poems that I have presented over the last year or so, I'm going to open up a window of opportunity for anybody who might want to contribute any comments, because there'll be a section in the front of the book where I will include you, and any of your thoughts or comments will be also included. So if you'd like to do that, I welcome you to do so, and you can just send me those comments to my email, which is weedu@gmail.com. So I'm looking for our guest. I know he's in there because he said he was watching. So I have him in the queue. He has been invited. Stephen, if you can hear me and you're watching, go ahead and see if you can make the connection. And we'll get our little interview started. I also want to mention the Water Life Symposium, which will be in September in Las Vegas, September 21, 2, and 3 at the Westgate Resort. Okay, now do you see a prompt, Stephen, for queuing in? Because you are already invited. You're in the queue. And all you have to do is ask to come in. Because you're there. There should be a prompt for you, because other people are, wanting to come in and be added, which I'm not going to do because it clutters up the screen. I welcome the comments and questions, but Stephen is our guest today. No prompt. Okay, well, I'm going to look again here, Stephen. Just hang on. It's all good. We're all live. Let's see. Okay, let's, here we go. This is always such a trip, man. Okay. He's calling in. Oh, wait. It ended. This is such fun. I love live because you never know what's going to happen. But let's see. I'll do this one. On. Oh man, this is hilarious. Let me. I've got you in the queue, bro. I don't know why. You know it. I'm gonna clear the requests, and I'll redo you.
Okay. Because for some reason it's just picked up on my phone.
Yeah, and it should work on your phone.
Yeah, I'm running it through my phone now, not my laptop.
Yeah. That was the problem. The phone. That's it. So I'm going to go back to the broadcast. Let's see if you can get the feed on your phone.
Okay.
Because see, other people are going, you know, they want to be added in and stuff, but I don't add other people in. So yeah, I think the phone is the deal. I've got him on my laptop. But he hasn't appeared on the phone yet. So it's all good. He's here. You know, he is here. You can talk. Say something, Stephen. See if they hear you.
Hello, everybody.
Can you hear him? You know, he's on my laptop. Can anybody respond? Tell me if you hear him, please. Anybody watching? Is anybody out there? You know I am. I'm way out there. And Stephen's here. Anybody? Say something, do something to make sure we're still happening here. I trust we are because it says people are watching. Michelle says, yeah, kind of. I've already stopped and restarted this broadcast once, and I trust. I just trust. You know, this is technology in action. This is real time. So I'll go back to the prompter and make sure we'll see if we can find you there. You know, there's other people that want to come in, but it's got clear requests, which I'm trying to do so I can just recreate you and you know, see where you are. Can people?
Do you want me to turn this section off?
Well, if you're on your phone, if nothing else, we're going to get your audio. I trust. Hey, Venice, can you hear Stephen? I have him on my computer. Yeah, people are saying it's okay. They can hear you. And other people are getting prompting buttons, but you're the only one that's in the invite, Stephen. So, you know, I don't know. But if nothing else, we'll just talk until we can figure out why I can't get you into the image. Because they can hear you, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I can see you and me in my image, so it's working on this end for me.
Yeah, I don't know. You're not appearing in my window. But people hear you. I know Venice can hear you, and she's down under. You guys got summer down there, I trust.
It is very warm.
Yeah, it's like 13 degrees here. I woke up with 1/4 inch of ice on my windows this morning. Okay, I'm going to look back in the prompter here and just see if I can figure out why you're not appearing. We'll try it again. You are invited. You're the only one invited right now. And so, I don't know. It's weird. Okay, I'm going to do it one more time. Well, you know, you're the only one invited. I don't know. I don't know. But let's just go on. And if we can figure out what, you know, what else is happening, we'll figure it out. Hey, Cal. Good morning. So anyway, I do have Stephen Williams. He is on the line, and apparently you can hear him. So that's good. So Stephen is the producer and director, the creator of the documentary film Urine Aid, which has been getting lots of attention and lots of awards, which I congratulate you on, my friend. It's awesome.
Thank you.
So I'm going to just go ahead and let Stephen tell us, bring us up to speed, because I know there was just a new award this last week, if I'm not mistaken. Why don't you tell us, you were on an important call, I think, today, but I don't want to spill anything. You tell us what's going on, all right?
So at the moment, we just got accepted into the Virgin Springs Film Festival, which is in India.
Nice.
And India is the birthplace of urine therapy, really, isn't it?
Isn't that great?
So we won a gold award, which was really good. So I've still got a long way to go. I've submitted into about 52 festivals at the moment.
Wow.
With the help of everybody and all the donations. So yeah, it's still a long journey. And the next phase is finding a distributor so we can then get it out on mainstream TV networks, platforms like Netflix and so forth.
Right. And just to make note of that, there is it's a GoFundMe, isn't it? Not a PayPal.
Correct.
It's a GoFundMe account that Stephen has set up to send donations to help continue the ongoing cost of getting the film out to these film festivals, because nobody accepts you for free. It doesn't work like that, does it?
No, each festival can cost anywhere up to, $80 or, anywhere above and beyond that. Also, you have to ship out the DVD screeners for them too. So it does add up very fast. So, my GoFundMe is in Australian dollars, so you can imagine the conversion rate.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, it's all part of the process. For the festivals that we've been selected in, we've won awards. So every festival that's been entered in has come back very successful, which is great.
Yeah.
So
now tell us all the ones that have already, just to remind everybody how well it's been doing so far.
So we've been in the Switzerland International Film Festival. I think that was the first one we got accepted into, which won Best Documentary. After that was the Melbourne Underground Film Festival, which was held here in my hometown. And we had a bit of a sellout on that, which was great. So unfortunately, they didn't realise it was going to sell out the tickets done so well that they were going to move it into a cinema. But you can't change venues halfway through, unfortunately. But, that was great. We won Special Jury Award there, and then Docs Without Borders, we won Best of Show, and Calcutta Cult Critic, which we got a really good write-up in that. And that works basically, they have monthly competitions, and at the end of the year you go into the final as well, so that can actually go into winning an award at the end of the year as well. So it's a big long process. Atlanta DocuFest, we were semi-finalists, finalists in a few others as well. So there's a few wins in there, which is great.
Yeah. Now, how many years have you? When you started this, like what? Almost like 7 years ago. I mean, how long's it been?
Far too long.
Yeah.
I'm starting to show my age. I'm 50 this year. I can't believe it.
Oh, you're looking good, my friend.
So yeah, I mean, basically, I was working in a full-time job, so I was only doing, research, and the filming part I could only do when I had my, holiday breaks. So every holiday I invested was going around the world interviewing people. So it took it was a bit of a slow process because I have a few weeks a year off, and in those weeks that I had off, I was only able to organise trips, to Japan or America, England, Egypt, India, Germany, Holland. Sometimes I had to revisit countries again. So, like in America, I'd finished filming Martin J. Lara, got back to Australia, and then I got all these calls saying, "Hey, when are you coming back to America? You got to film me." So it was like,
Yeah.
if only I'd known, I could have done the whole thing in one hit. But it doesn't always pan out that way.
Right.
Documentaries have a life of their own. They tend to take a bit of a journey, and doors open up as you go along. So
Yes.
opportunities arise throughout the process. So yeah.
Yes. And I went to film school myself, and I've made a couple of documentary films, and there is definitely a process involved, no matter what. And it does. It takes on a life of its own. Magic appears in the process, right?
Yeah, I had the opportunity to go to Japan was a very just a fluke, to say the least. I was visiting a friend, and she her best friend is Japanese, and they were going off to Japan, and she's like, "Why don't you go with them, because she can be your interpreter," which was fantastic. So we thought, yeah, let's go. And she ended up setting up a lot of meetings with some key people, which were in the film, which was great. We travelled all through Japan. Her friends actually drove us all around to different areas, and rallied up some friends who were all urine drinkers. They had a little bit of a conference going on, which was great. So we got to meet some very like-minded people. And even though I was filming and interviewing and asking questions and had no idea what they were saying, it was a really trial to do, because you really need to listen to them and ask a question from the response. But because the interpreter wasn't telling me what they were saying, I didn't know anything until I got back and had to decipher everything in the footage. So it was a bit of a task.
Well, it kind of reminds me of that Bill Murray film, Lost in Translation, if you ever saw that film. And he was in Japan, and it's like everything went sideways. It's called Lost in Translation.
Yeah, it was an eye opener. I wanted to do a bit more research on Dr. Orochi Nakal, who had the Water for Life clinic. Unfortunately, that doesn't exist anymore, and he passed away in his 90s. So I was hoping that there would be some sort of information on that. Unfortunately, I found one lady who had all the books. They had publications every month and little booklets, so that was a really good find. And she now is actively the voice of urine therapy in Japan. She has her own little conferences, and she does her own little talks and everything. So she invited me into her house and got to introduce me into some really nice insights to what's going on in Japan with urine therapy, which is great.
Is it? Do you find that it has quite a good-sized community?
It was really large many years ago when Dr. Nakal was alive, but the movement, it goes in stages. It just gets forgotten about, and people get on with their lives and they forget to do it. So, and urine therapy has that. At the moment, I think we're in the rise of urine therapy. You only need to look on YouTube these days to see how many videos there are.
Yes.
When I first started, there was only about 3 people talking about urine therapy, and now it's it's quite flooded, which is great. So the awareness is coming back into itself again. But through history, it'll be forgotten again. It'll go in its highs and lows, which is normal process, really.
Yeah, and I found that on my channel. I get new subscribers like really every day, and several, and I seem to be in a lot of feeds apparently. I constantly, I mean, just this last week alone, I've had a couple of conversations on video chats and telephone calls from people that started doing it because they saw one of my videos, which I'm humbled and honored. It's like, cool. Glad you're doing it, And so, yeah.
Well, the great thing is they see results, and you do see results very quickly in some people. So, the ones that continue it notice those differences quite immediately, whereas some who give it a go and don't really indulge fully, don't really see too much effects, then they just stop and go, I can't do this. This is, conditioned to think it's gross and all those sort of things, which
right.
is a normal understanding. Technically, it's not the most luxurious idea of healing. A glossy pill might seem more glamorous, but it's not always the best option.
Well, once I wrapped my head around it, which didn't take any time at all. I mean, I remember the very first time I peed in my cup. It was a little over a year ago, and and I looked at it, and I was like, I'd only been knowledgeable of urine therapy for like 2 days before literally jumping in the stream, and I went, well, here it goes, and I drank it, and I went, what's the big deal? I mean, it was just like that for me. I just like, this isn't nothing, this is all right, and I enjoy it now. I mean, I do enjoy it. And I do a lot of aging. I pee about, on an average, I probably pee a gallon a day, and that's after doing 2 or 3 loopings and whatnot. I'm a real pee factory. I got 29, I think, gallons aging right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I plan on creating a free bathtub here come spring. Somebody's going to remodel a bathroom. I'm going to build a deck and put it out here on a sunny spot and fill it up with my aged urine and have myself a hot tub, an aged urine hot tub. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. So. You've got some pretty interesting people in this film that are notable. You want to talk about any of those? So, people that are unfamiliar with what you have put together in this film?
So basically, I've got a lot of testimonials from people that were quite sick at the time of filming. I did get criticised. A few people go, "Oh, why is everybody so old in the film?" And they don't look good. Urine therapy should, everybody should look fresh and young and lovely. But it's not always the case. This is a documentary about people that were in stages of their life that they were unhealthy and that they were utilising this therapy. Unfortunately, I couldn't invest in time flying overseas. Filming a before and after type scenario where you get to see them shine towards the end.
Yes.
But urine therapy is for those who have desperate measures, and it is realistically an older person's type therapy. I think most people that are young think they're invincible and healthy, and why would I need to do this? But start at a young age, and it's a preventative for your future. Of having a healthy body, but try and tell someone that is in their 20s and healthy that this is a good thing is pretty difficult. But I got some key people like Cole Vanderkoon, who wrote the Water, the Fountain of Youth book, Martin J. Lara. So basically it really is the same type of people that were at world conferences. There was a very selected handful of people that were the so-called martyrs of this therapy, And now we're moving into a new generation. You know, a lot of these people that are in the film are no longer, you know, doing anything about urine therapy. They've moved on. They're doing other things. So people like yourself and, you know, the newbies on Facebook, which is the new era, you know, they're the voices of urine therapy now. You know, so they're the ones who are discussing their stories and, you know, showing the world this therapy. But, you know, some of the key people, like Dr. David Jubb, I mean, his incredible knowledge of urine and how the blood works, you'd give any doctor a run for their money, that's for sure. You know, for anyone that says this therapy is just, you know, placebo or it's hocus pocus, you know, he'll know the intricate details of the enzymes in the blood and how it works and how it, you know, how it wets the blood, and he's just fascinating. I wish I had more time with him, you know, just to pick his brain, because his insight and his knowledge is incredible.
Yeah, I saw an interview that somebody posted in one of the groups recently with him, and he explained all that blood work and all of those things, and it's pretty fascinating. And that's the whole thing with, I mean, even with Andrew Norton Weber, who just kind of bowed out for whatever reason, people are keeping his videos very active into the limelight. And, you know, when you talk about age, now this is something I want to bring to mind, because I have lots and lots of subscribers who are young, in their 20s, and connecting all the time. So I'm seeing more and more evidence that people are not necessarily in chronic like I was. You know, I had a lot of body problems, so I needed to do something, because I was taking a lot of meds to deal with my chronic pain all the time. So, you know, for me, it was like, it was the greatest thing that ever happened to me, man. It was just like a miracle to me. But I'm noticing more and more, I am, with the ongoing growth of the my channel, as well as the High Vibe tribe. People are jumping in every day and joining the conversation. It's really marvelous. There is a big wave going on, and I see it. I see it in. I just see it every day. I see the evidence. We're on a high wave right now. It's waving high. Hey, Diana. Hey, Andrew. Hey, Ryan. A lot of comments are going to slip on by. Peter, you know, thanks for joining us, all you people out there. I love you all. We do have Stephen Williams here on the line. He's for some reason we had trouble connecting on video, but I got him on, you know, my computer laptop, and I'm on my phone, so it's all working. Everybody can hear him fine, apparently, so we're doing good. Technology in action on the other side of the world. So what's your next submissions? Do you have, do you know, or, I mean, you said you submitted to 52. Are you still waiting for answers on some of those?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we've, you know, you try and submit really early, so you get the early bird submission phase, which can be a lot more affordable. So the later a festival gets into the year, the more it costs and the less chance you have of getting in. I just submitted into one of the festivals in New York, just since there's been a bit of an influx of donations coming through the other day, which is great. So, you know, I invested straight into festivals. There's a few festivals I'm waiting for the following year, because it's too late to submit now. Because if you get a late submission in, they're very tired by that stage. They've watched, you know, hundreds and thousands of videos, and, you know, the last thing they're going to really do is give you too much time of your day for your film. And also, there's a lot of background research into festivals. I've got to make sure that the film suits that type of festival as well.
Right. So you don't waste your time.
Yeah, basically a lot goes to a certain theme of the year, so they might be looking at, you know, films from local people or a certain, you know, demographic, and it may not fit their type of genre. So,
right.
You know, it's throwing a lot of money away a lot of the time, because, you know, you get a lot of no's as well. So you're like, damn, that was the one I really wanted to get into.
Right.
You know, that one cost $90 and you didn't get in it. So, you know, but, you know, the one, like I say, the ones that we are getting into are all coming back with awards, which is great. So it's a slow process, you know, and it's just sort of doing a lot of reading and seeing how it fits into their festival strategies and whether it, you know, because urine therapy is a really out there subject for a lot of people.
You think?
You know, how does that fit into a festival? You know, and they're thinking they want to sell seats too. You know, they want to fill up a cinema. As well.
Yeah.
So they want to be able to see some results. Whereas, you know, a lot of underground film festivals like that. There's a lot of sort of avant-garde type festivals as well. The fact that we've got about 8 laurels, which is helping the movement, so people are now paying attention that it is getting recognised. So why not take this film? You know, it's an interesting subject matter, which is taboo, which is what people look for these days in documentaries. It's out there.
Yeah. Timing's everything.
There's scenes in the film that are very confronting, and you know, one particular scene was going to be edited out, but my producers said, if you take that out, you won't have a film. And I had to actually re-edit the whole film, which took another year, because I had to cut out Sarah Miles out of the film, because she refused to be in it if this particular guy was in it, and he was driving and drinking and so forth, and she just was horrified. And it's really funny, I must say, the most critical people are the urine therapy drinkers themselves. Whether it's confronting to watch someone drink their own urine, and it's a reality, because those who don't know about this therapy love the film. You know, they like, I never knew anything about it. It's fascinating. You know, after the Melbourne Underground Film Festival, I had a few people come up and say, I've started drinking now. This is great. You know, I love it. But those who are diehard urine pee drinkers are like, oh, that film is terrible. I don't like this scene, or I don't like that scene. And, you know, I was like, wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So, you know, I found that really, really interesting that those in the community were a bit more taken by some of the you know, interviews in the film.
Right. Well, you know, the thing is, you bring up an interesting point, is that it'll always push somebody's buttons that are in denial or resistance to change, whatever that change might be, even if it's in their highest good and their best health interest. It triggers things. And, you know, if people aren't willing to be open-hearted, open-minded, they may just be confrontational. They'll put on a front and be defensive or offensive because they're not capable of wrapping their head around it. And so it's easier to go that route, you know, be condescending and sarcastic and, you know, all that jazz, which serves no one ever. But I can understand.
Well, it's easy to drink in silence with nobody knowing. So I think, you know, there still has that stigma and that taboo about urine therapy, whereas, you know, the more we speak about it openly with forums like this and videos on YouTube, the more it becomes less taboo and more common, you know. And I understand that. I was a little bit conscious of telling people I drink my urine at first. You know, I was kind of like, how are they going to take me? But, you know, the more I spoke about it, the more fascinated people were, you know, and I would always start off to say, yeah, no, I'm a filmmaker, I'm making a film about urine therapy, and they would sort of go, what? What's that?
Yeah.
You know, and they knew what it was, because they just had to have a double take.
Yeah.
And they'll go, you mean like drinking urine? And I'm like, absolutely. And the second question would always be, so are you doing it? And I'm like, absolutely, of course I'm doing it. I have to. You know, I'm doing a documentary about it. I'm trying it. And, it wasn't a case of them going, oh my God, it was a case of, how is it? You know, what's it like? You know, what have you noticed? And how do I do it? So, you know, there's an innate curiosity in humans because we're all born in it. You know,
Yes.
we drunk when we're in the womb.
Yeah.
So we all have that memory of drinking urine we just forgot.
Well, and that's
so
it.
many people.
And that's how it rolls for me. I mean, I jumped out right away. I had no hesitation or resistance of making it very clear what I was doing because I was having these amazing results. And so, you know, I lost a lot of friends. You know, even my kids are like, you know, they're like, they can't wrap their head around it and they think I've totally lost it, and that's okay. They'll come around someday. But you know, I just felt compelled to do it because it was such a miracle to me that I felt compelled to make it available for other people to comprehend. So I come well prepared. I've done a lot of homework. I've done a lot of reading, plus my own testimonial, my own experience, and listening to others and learning all the different variables that are in application that people do that are working for them. Now, I do have one comment, just so you know, Stephen. This is from Rich Webb. And he said he saw the film and it was great. And if you donate to the GoFundMe, Stephen will send you a link. That's how I saw it, and it's a great film. So, you know, we got people listening. They're already, you know, privileged to have seen it. So, yeah, GoFundMe. You know, get the hookup, and we'll get all that. Make sure you're clear how to make that contribution to help continue promoting the film.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to make the film, you know, is to show a face to it. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm right here. Yeah, I hear you fine.
Yeah, so, I mean, the whole point of making a film about this was to show people and put a face to it. Because prior to this, there was just books. There wasn't, you know, people's faces. And I wanted to introduce this to a wider community by saying, well, I've read all the books, and everyone does the research, you know, yourself. You went through understanding it, you went through reading and learning about how it works. So it was time to take it to a more visual aspect, really. So that was the point of making a film, so people then could see, you know, some of the testimonials out there were really dated. They were way back in the 80s, if not earlier.
Right.
You know, so it was time to introduce urine therapy on a visual aspect, and people, I think, relate a lot more personal to someone's personal story than some, you know, basic book which you can't relate to.
Right.
Sometimes because it's just the story. Yeah.
What is, just because it's appearing in comments right now, where do people go to find your GoFundMe? What's your link?
So if they type in Urine Aid, which is the title of the film, it'll definitely come up. That's usually the quickest way to find it.
Okay, so they just go on like a Facebook search or a Google search. Does it go to a .com or?
Well, I mean, I do have it in a lot of the urine therapy groups.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen your post, and it was just recent. It appeared even yesterday or the day before. It was in the groups.
If they go into GoFundMe and then type in Urine Aid in the search menu, it should come up.
Yeah, you just go to, if you didn't hear that, you go to GoFundMe and type in Urine Aid in the search, and it'll come up. That's how you do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very quick process.
Yeah, you know, PayPal and GoFundMe are pretty expedient ways to transfer money around, by my experience. So,
and it's in Australian dollars, so you save yourself the conversion.
Yeah, and it's in Australian dollars. I don't know if you heard that. So you save money in the conversion. Yeah. And we have listeners right now that are in Europe, Australia, in Canada, in the U.S. We got people joining us from all over. I can see that. And I thank you all for joining us. And if you're just coming in, we are with Stephen Williams, the filmmaker of Urine Aid. And we have him on the audio. I have him on my computer laptop, and he's upside down right now. I think that... are you in Australia? Are you defying gravity?
Hanging from the rafters.
That's hilarious. His phone was turned upside down, so he was totally upside down in my what I was looking at. It's perfect. Yeah. So when you said New York, were you talking maybe Tribeca, or which festival were you looking at in New York?
Tribeca I would love, but unfortunately I think Tribeca's there are so many different types of festivals, and Tribeca's a very A-list festival. So,
right, just like Telluride, too, is one of those festivals.
Yeah, and they're almost over 100 plus US to get into, but they more go for festivals and films that are celebrity based.
Yeah.
That have famous documentary filmmakers or a famous celebrity in it. So they go off that sort of pulling power. And unfortunately, because I pulled a so-called celebrity out of my film, that kind of really killed it in a way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I could enter into festivals like that, but it'd be just throwing good money out.
Right.
Wasting good money. And I'm trying to select, festivals where the donations can actually get maximum return for it.
Right.
Rather than, submitting into $150 US dollar festival and just going, there's no chance.
Right.
It's not a Sundance type film festival. It's not, it's a little bit more niche. Also, because when I started filming, I was filming in high definition, and back then that was the latest. Now everything is 4K, so high definition is like video these days.
Right.
It's dated already. And they look for these really high definition, well polished looking products, which is interesting.
Right.
And my film's a little bit more grainy. It's a little bit more sort of gritty in the imagery of it, which is interesting. Yeah.
Now, you have an interesting background. You had a background in television and broadcasting, isn't that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So I used to do a TV show here in Melbourne, which was an event show, which was interviewing A-list celebrities. Morgan Freeman, John Travolta, Matt Damon, whoever I done them. So I just got very bored of that sort of format. I'd done it for like 9 years, and wanted to do something new and different. So, and also do something that can benefit people and help people. And I've always had that sort of, how can I benefit the world? What can I do to give back to the world and the community at large? And was looking for a subject matter and fell upon urine therapy, which I'd heard about 20 odd years ago when I first tried it. Never thought anything about it again. But yeah, it was just by sheer luck that I discovered the therapy again.
So when you started the film, had you had any actual filmmaking training or experience, or was it just television experience that kind of led you there, or how'd that work?
Yeah, all self-taught pretty much, with just buying my own equipment and learning how to edit and create products. So I think filming, over 200 shows just got me some experience with, the idea of filmmaking and stuff like that. So I have also done a lot of courses as well. So I do little film courses and things like that as well. And, just to upskill myself. I couldn't, invest, 2 years in film school or anything like that, because it was just, there's hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to go to film school.
Right.
And that doesn't necessarily make you a good filmmaker. The idea of filmmaking is the storytelling.
Yes.
You've got to be able to tell a story. That's the key part. With doing the film, the TV stuff, it was all little stories, so I got to do the art of storytelling, technically. Most people go into making short films first before documentary, and I just thought I'd go for kill and do a documentary and go for a feature,
Well, when I went to film school, it was actually the very first digital film school ever created, and it happened to be right where I was living in Sedona, Arizona, and it was pretty unique because it was a one-year program. It was limited to 20 students and we had to go in and pitch our ideas to even get a consideration. So it was pretty cool. And since I was in the very first graduating class of that school setup, it was real guerrilla because we barely had any of the gear. Like when I made my thesis film, we didn't have all of the booms and things as yet. I mean, because I decided I wanted to make mine up front, so I elected early on, and so we had to develop our own techniques to get the shot. And I, being a big Kubrick fan and Hitchcock fan and stuff, I had, ideas of one shots and overhead shots, and there was a lot. My shot list was pretty thorough for the film, and so it made it that much more exciting because we even climbed light poles, in the middle of plazas to, get the overhead shots. And, we had to just do whatever it takes to make it work. And so I appreciated that from my experience because it really taught me to, make it up as you go along. If you want to get the job done, you figure out how to get it done.
And that's the beauty of filmmaking, as, you're not constrained by what's being taught these days is sometimes also very limited. I mean, when I was producing the show in Melbourne, I was editing in a way that was considered taboo, and that you couldn't do split screen shots and things like that. Now it's very common.
Right.
They started to copy what I was doing, which was quite interesting. So, I wasn't limited by the boundaries of what's taught. And a lot of the problem with filmmaking these days is there's such big budgets that they lack that creativity because they just throw money at it. I had no budget for this film.
Right.
Urine Aid was all self-funded. I've spent over $70,000 so far over 7 years. So, $10 grand a year is not that much, but I had to really step up the creativity. Like there's a scene in the film where Andrew's talking about the baby in the womb. And I'm like, how am I going to make this scene? I really want a baby in the womb, and I contacted people who did animation, and it was going to cost tens of thousands of dollars. And I'm like, I can't afford that. So I just went down to Kmart and found a baby doll and put plastic sheets into my bathtub, filled it with little bits of hair and bits and pieces. I bought a little cheap, handy underwater camera, and I sat in my bathtub for 2 hours filming this baby floating in this bathtub, and it looks like it's in a womb. And
that's so creative. That's so clever. Good for you. That's very thoughtful.
And that cost me only a few $100s, whereas to buy footage would have cost me tens of thousands of dollars. And I'm like, well, you've just got to be creative with filmmaking and do what you can do, and that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
I guess that's why the film will probably never get into Tribeca. It's not glossy, it's not shiny, it's not sweeping, beautiful views and aerial views is what they look for these days.
Right.
With all these GoPros and
Well, and then the other side of what has basically happened to film is it's all CGI. Everything. I mean, it's just the whole thing is just so make believe anyway. with green screening everything, and floating people around on wires and whatever, or cartoons. I mean, I just quit watching, quite frankly. The only thing I will watch is documentary, really, anymore. If I watch any films at all, it's documentary. I appreciate it, very much.
Yeah, I love documentaries because you can get a different perspective. It is more about the storytelling, but you can lend a little bit on the quality of the film because it is a documentary. You don't have to have all these, high-end cameras. You can do it on a, handycam these days. But
right.
I think that's changing with a lot of some of these high-end documentary festivals. Is they're looking for these, David Attenborough, beautiful high-definition shots these days. And to me, documentary is just that. It should be rough. It should be real. It should be raw. It should be glossy and
I totally agree. I totally agree. Now, quickly, I've got a question before it disappears in front of me, and it's it says, wondering if Stephen has heard of Dr. Gerald Pollack with his work on water, more specifically structured water, and its ability to be energetic and store memory. Now that sounds what was his name, Komodo or whatever that Japanese.
Yeah, the Japanese guy.
Yeah.
I mean, we all carry vibration. Everything carries a vibration. So everything has memory. Water has memory. Urine has memory. We are a living being. We're full of energy. So electricity can arc through water, and we are electric beings. So
yes.
Absolutely, there's power to it. So.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing, is that not only does our urine have memory, it has our ancestral memory. So, we it's our fathers, and mothers carrying through a DNA energy that is still alive within us. That's what I feel. I believe we have this cellular memory. Because we start with one parent cell and then it divides and it multiplies. And where does that?
The beauty of urine and being a liquid like water, it can move through everything. Like water can move through mountains and it can split mountains. Urine reaches the furthest parts of our body, to the tips of our skin. So it wets the blood. It gets right into every little nook and cranny of our body. It passes through those elements, which is really great.
Yes.
It makes us more fluid. It opens up. It enlightens our brains. There are a lot of people that have a higher awareness nowadays with urine therapy. It's that spiritual connection with one, which is your inner self, which is incredible. There's incredible claims by urine therapy. I've seen some amazing stories with a blind woman restoring her eyesight, which is pretty incredible. So yeah, it's just amazing what some of the people have used it for and had such great success with.
Well, I recall my first experience when I really I knew that I had decalcified my pineal and pituitaries, and it was mind-boggling to me. It happened in the shower of all places, but I could just tell that it had decalcified and my third eye was opening, and so I made one of my shows about that, and that one video's had 12,000 views or something crazy, I mean, it's really interesting. And that was real early. That was I think last March or something when I made that particular broadcast, that show. So, the decalcification, and that's something I bring up a lot, because that was what was most profound for me, is decalcifying my body, because I was really having a lot of pain and dealing with arthritis. And my hands were literally crippled. And so having that I mean, 10 days I went from decrepit hands to full mobility, and that was just astonishing to me, how quickly the process took hold in my body. I was just like blown away. I couldn't believe how quickly it all happened. It was just great. Yeah.
Great for arthritis. Fantastic for arthritis. So, and I have one woman in the film who had, severe rheumatoid arthritis, and her factor in her blood is over 112, and that's off the scale if you've got arthritis. That's you're supposed to be bedridden, and she's running around doing Zumba classes. She's loving it.
Yeah, it is. It's the testimonials are really heart-wrenching, and to me they just provide so much hope, for people that are really still in that level of struggle and suffering and pain. And pain and suffering are two independent items. Suffering is in the mind, pain is in the body. So too much association is brought with them, but the mind will suffer if the body's in pain. So
and the beauty is it's free. It doesn't cost you anything.
Yes, it's my favorite part.
Healthcare is getting incredibly ridiculous globally. Australia, they've just lifted up the fees by 4%, which is double the cost of inflation. Just healthcare is just becoming unattainable. In other countries that where we once had a free healthcare system is starting to die. And what's going to happen in this world where we can't afford to go to a doctor? There was a recent article about a guy in America who just won $1 million on one of the scratch tickets, and he said, "Great, I can go and see a doctor now." And he went to the doctor, and the doctor said, "I'm sorry, you've got cancer," and he died 23 days later.
Oh, wow.
It's really sad that people have to wait to see somebody, and whereas urine therapy is this free, it's on hand 24/7. You can heal yourself. You can use it immediately, and it doesn't cost you anything except good health. And that's incredible. It should be there for everybody.
Well, it is there for everybody. That's the beauty. If they just get their heads out of their ass and realize it really stinks up there, they need an aged urine enema. I tell people, you need to enemize that shit, man. You get that shit out of your head.
And that's it. I mean, it's overcoming that stigma and overcoming the fear of the idea of drinking urine as a dirty thing. It's a clean substance. It's what's in your blood. That's all it is. Your blood is clean, so nothing in urine is going to harm you. No one's ever died from drinking their urine. There's been no cases of that.
Proof perfect right here. I just drew this while I was sitting here. Ha ha. Brand new, fresh, warm from the oven. Cheers.
The only concern I really have is just not getting too fanatical about it. When we go into a fanatical aspect, that kind of puts people back away. It's not a religion. It's not a cult. It shouldn't be a cult. It should be just about healthy lifestyle, healthy drinking.
Yes.
To each person's level. I get really strange when people start really pushing it to some people, like if it's some massive cult movement, and it's like, no, you're just going to scare everybody away. It's a very personal journey.
Yes.
Drinking your own urine is a very intimate relationship with what's in your body. It's a personal experience, and no one should spoil that for the other person that wants to do that. It should be, encouraged and saying, give it a go, become friends with your urine, get to know yourself by drinking it, and everything else from that will move internally. I think when we start throwing these hardcore elements to it, it's just going to give people a bit of a, oh my God, no way, you're just crazy sort of thing. And
well,
it's not a crazy thing.
I saw recently, I heard somewhere, I don't know, somebody posted it, that it's like a satanic blood drinking occult. For an example. But In view of what you just said, I agree. I just encourage people to look at, their own experience, trust their own experience. It doesn't matter. Because when I first was introduced to, a vegan lifestyle 20 years ago, I was totally turned off because they were such Nazis about it. When people get, like it's my way or the highway, like, oh, fuck you, and I don't want to turn people off. I just want to, encourage people that they have options, and the best part I like about it is it's free. I know exactly what it is. I know what's coming through me, and it's the greatest expression of self-love that I ever learned. To me, it's the most important information I've ever learned in my life, bar none. And I've gathered a lot of knowledge in my life, but I can't compare this to anything else I've ever learned. To me, it set me free. Totally set me free.
And that's the beauty of it. It's you become your own vessel of living truth. You lead by example, and people that are down that road of constant medication that are not winning that race. They're on a merry-go-round of pill after pill after pill, and you can eliminate a lot of things without being toxified by harsh chemicals that are found in a lot of these medications these days. But, there's a lot of fear factor there. I'm stopping a drug that my doctor told me I need, and, basically no one's asking the correct questions. What does the drug do? What side effects does the drug do? Is it actually working?
Right.
There's so many elements in life that we forget to ask. I mean, my GPs hate me because I question everything, I went to the GP recently and he's like, well, you need to get this flu jab. There's this massive flu going around at the moment. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's epidemic, And I said, oh, epidemic, is it? And I said, oh, yeah, how many people have had it? He goes, oh, well, 6 so far. And I'm like, well, 6 doesn't classify epidemic.
Yeah.
And how does one get it? He goes, well, if you're around people all the time, and it's like, well, that's a stupid thing. We're always around people.
So, well, more people get it from the flu shots. They're spreading the epidemic. Come on in. You want to join the epidemic? Here, come in. We'll only charge you for this.
And they get really upset with me because I question. It's like, okay, so what's in it? Oh, well, I don't know. So you don't even know the ingredients that you want to put into my body? I'm like, I know what food goes into my body.
Right.
I don't want to have substances in my body that you don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
I have always had these debates with them. They tend to picking me out or just
here in the States. Now, and I think this is true in the UK and other places, but they passed a law, and this is a law that they number one, no one is held responsible. The pharmaceutical, the manufacturer, the agent who applies it. So if your baby or you die or get sick or have, life-changing effects, you can't sue anybody. And again, they don't have to disclose ingredients. Nobody knows what's in these. They really don't know. The people administering have no clue what they're putting in you. All they know is what it was labeled as. That's all they know. They don't know what's in it. Dave Murphy brought up a good point. He said, okay, well, I tell you what, why don't you do it in front of me and shoot it up? Let me watch you do it. Let me see if how that's working for you.
This is the issue. I mean, they use poison to trigger a health response. We use natural products to trigger a health response. You're putting your urine back in your body to send information what's not correct in your body, and it uses that information to create balance again. I mean, why would you want to do that with poison? I don't really know. So yes, it works. But which one works better?
Right. Yeah.
Natural is always going to work a little bit better because your body's accustomed to that. It's familiar with that. With poison, it's not familiar. It reacts to that. But, you know, short term, it can work very well and fast and rapidly. But over the long term, you know, medication is just going to poison the body.
Right.
You're going to have a lot more complications down the end of the road, where you start off with one pill and you end up on 15, and you're never going to win that race. You know?
Right. Well, and there's been there's no better word for it than war, you know, on the naturopathic pursuits in this country since early 1900s, ever since the allopathic was hijacked by Carnegie and Rockefeller and, you know, the banksters and whatnot. They totally hijacked medicine, education, finance, and government, eventually energy. You know, so there was a giant plan in action. And so even if you read back into like Water of Life, John Armstrong's book, I mean, he was an outcast. And so it's not new. What's going on has deep tentacles and a lot of roots. Now, there is a doctor, I saw an interview recently, and he opened a clinic in Mexico, and he's actually treating cancer patients with urine therapy and being very open about it. So, you know,
Mexico is great for that. Mexico and India are great. You know, there's a massive clinic in India that they treat everybody with urine therapy, which is fantastic. So,
yeah. Yeah.
And I would love to visit that one day. So, yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, I tell people all the time, I said, I'm a healer, man. I healed myself. Now, you know, you can be a healer too if you want to heal yourself. It's not my job. You know, I don't make a claim that, you know, I'm your urine therapist. That's not a claim. I don't make that claim. I can make the claim
you have to want to be healed. You have to want to heal yourself.
Yes.
Some people just don't want to be healed. Some people enjoy being sick and enjoy the attention they get from the sickness.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm sick today, and you know, you've got to clear that mindset too. You know, it's a very easy mindset to fall into.
Well, I was, you know, I've been re-editing my book of poems, and you know, it's interesting to go back and read them because I rarely ever do this, but there's one I came across that, you know, struck a chord that I remember, you know, that how I really did. I used to complain all the time about my aches and pains. I mean, it was like a focused interest. And so I lived that life. You know, I know exactly what that looks like. And it is. It's pulling the sympathy card, you know. Oh, poor me, I'm wounded me, you know, all that jazz. So I understand that one real well.
And it's very easy to get onto that. I mean, I must say, one of the women in my film, Margaret, who she soaked her feet in urine, she drank everything, but she started seeing great results. She was having incredibly turnaround events, and then she decided to stop drinking. And I'm like, why did you stop drinking? And the last time I spoke to her, unfortunately, she's in hospital now. She's lost a leg. They've amputated some of her foot. She's on a ridiculous amount of medications. And I said, you know, you were doing so well on urine therapy. You were doing so good. Like, what happened that you ended up, you know, having to lose part of your body? She can barely speak now, and I was really disappointed because I was trying to get her to be a great advocate for urine therapy. And as you know, I said, once this film finishes, people are going to want to know what you did and how you done it. And now, you know, I look at her and say, well, this is a testimonial. What happens when you stop? You know, your body, you chose to go down the medical route, and you're in hospital, you're bedridden, you've lost parts of your body, you know, your blood system's out of whack, you're full of medication, you know, I said, now's the time to get back onto it and turn that around before it's too late. You know, your life is hanging on there.
And once you go into the hospital, you sign your rights away. You lose all control of your decision making, and they decide what's going to be best for you, no matter what it is, you know.
But unfortunately, she's on that ride of, poor me, look at me, I'm sick, give me the sympathy, give me the empathy, and she's riding on that rather than riding on the health aspect. And I've tried to turn her around and say, look, you know, you can get just as much attention from being healthy, but it's you know, it's very hard for some people to get off that, oh, I'm so sick, and oh, poor me, and you know, because people come around and people play into those sort of things. They come around and go, how are you feeling? And oh,
right.
Poor thing. And it's like, it's wrong. We shouldn't, as people, buy into that and feed people that empathy. You should say, have you heard about urine therapy? Have you done other things? You know, you've got to break them out of that mental cycle of the poor me syndrome. You know, I'm playing the victim and I'm hurt. And it's a very tough scenario, and a lot of people are in that little world, like you say, you were in yourself. And what makes you stay in that world is people around you that keep you in that world by saying to you, oh, how's your arthritis going? Oh, you poor thing, how are you today? You know, they're feeding you that information.
Yes.
And you're not aware of it. You're getting brainwashed by those around you.
Yes.
So you need to kind of step out of that environment. You need to get away from those people that are feeding you that information as well, because you're craving any form of attention from it, and learn about urine therapy and learn about self-healing and learn about, you know, opening your mind and creating that power within you to heal yourself, and you will reap those benefits by far 100-fold more than feeling sorry or being people giving you that attention for you.
Well, and I'm a perfect example of that, because the amount of love that I pour out and receive is just, you know, amazing to me. It's humbling and gratifying, and it's really a completely different world I live in than I lived in a year ago. I mean, if you knew me a year ago, I don't even know who that person was. It's just somebody I used to know. Totally. Yeah. Now, Peter Claytoon, he's got a question. He said, can you ask about the interview with Dr. Lesser on Linus Pauling and Gandhi, etc.? So you got a response to that?
Hi, Peter. Thanks for listening. Peter's a great guy. We chat all the time, so he's really onto it, which is great. Yeah, Dr. M. Lesser is a psychologist who I have in the film, and also a very close friend of Dr. Linus Pauling, who, you know, 2 Nobel Prize winner Linus Pauling, who understood about urine therapy. He tried it himself to try and treat his cancer. He had prostate cancer, and he uses vitamins and minerals to cure illnesses rather than psychotherapy drugs and things like that, which are just made up drugs that do absolutely nothing.
Yes.
And you know, Linus Pauling talked about most illnesses are caused by a deficiency of some kind of mineral or vitamin in the body. You know, most diseases can be completely reversed by having these supplements in the system, and that's what urine gives you. It gives you an extra boost of those supplements as well. So, you know, by treating the body with the body, it helps, you know, send those enzymes and those minerals, and it gets through the cellular level, and it can absolutely restore optimum health to the body, which is great.
Yeah,
I don't know if Peter has a specific question. I mean, people believe that Gandhi, you know, when he went on his fast, or when he went on his, you know, he refused to eat for a while as a protest, that he was drinking his urine, which is a great way if you want to do a starvation camp you know, you just drink your urine because you're never starving.
Yeah, that's a great night. You know, I mean, I knew that just from doing my own urine fasts, and it is food. Now, in this study I heard about, I don't know, quite a long time ago, that in our culture, that the biggest deficiency is vitamin D. And that's, if you look at it, give it thought, everybody's buried in indoors, not getting any sunshine, you know, and you know, and you know, all you need is a matter of minutes to actually get the correct dosage of vitamin D. Just be out in the sunshine for minutes. Really, you don't have to be out there all day long or anything. You just need to get some sun. And pull away from your computer screen, you know, and yeah, so, and a lot of people have cured a lot of things doing, you know, superdosing on vitamin C as well. Certainly, the idea of alkalining our body is an important consideration because most are highly acidic by diet and consumption, and the acidic diet is certainly not contributing to your highest good and greatest health by any stretch, you know. So, that I had to learn that, you know, and I learned that going vegan about, you know, I was a professional chef, man. I knew how to make tasty food, but I was clueless about nutrition, really clueless, you know.
And most people are.
Yeah.
I mean, most people have no idea about nutrition, and even, you know, nutritionists in hospitals give you no information.
Right.
You know, they're so, I don't even know why they're there half the time, you know. It's
Agreed.
Like the stuff they serve in hospitals is absolutely criminal.
Oh, God, I know. It's scary food. You might as well, I mean, it's about as delicious and tasty looking as what they serve the homies in prison. It comes from the same industrial stock, you know. Just comes from the same, you know, Cisco delivery or whoever delivers, you know, same products.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah. And you know, there's a lot of people out there that really make a, you know, an important point, and I appreciate it, you know, that, you know, with their rigor, with their diets. But again, I'm not really big on, you know, putting people off by saying have to, should haves, could haves, and all that. I don't should on people. It's all a choice. But the thing that I found that works is that the urine really balances my body regardless. And I'm at an ideal weight. I weigh what I did when I was 19 years old. And man, I never felt better in my life. So regardless, you know, if I drink coffee or, you know, do this, I don't eat meat. You know, I decided I wasn't going to do that anymore, and I've stuck to that. It's going on 3 years now that I quit that. But I don't beat myself up about eating cooked food if I choose to. My primary diet is fruit. But again, I don't get so, I just don't get so rigid about it all. You know,
that's the beauty of it, because it's about energy, and like you say, you know, we talked about earlier where everything has a life force. Water has an energy, you know, everything has this energy. So if you eat with love and eat with, you know, calmness and beauty and enjoyment, that food is going to be much better digested in your system. But if you eat with hatred and anger and all these other things, you're going to have problems with that food.
Yeah.
So you're not going to digest as well. You know, we have the terminologies like we're sick to our stomach, because it turns your stomach very quickly. That energy can flip you very fast. So if you eat with guilt and you eat with hatred and you eat with, you know, these elements, you're not going to get the benefits out of it.
Yes.
You know, eat with love. We're all human. We want to, you know, it's urine therapy. You can have a cigarette if you want to be a smoker. I don't know why you would want to, but don't do it with guilt. Do it with enjoyment.
Well, this is... I tell people, I said, it's not what you're eating, it's what's eating you, man. You know, and again, I everything you said I agree with, because I tell people the same thing. I said, look, if you're going to eat the cheeseburger, don't do it with guilt. If you're going to smoke the cigarette, enjoy it. I mean, just realize that if you are going to do something and then you put all of that angst on top of it, all you're going to do is multiply your distress, you know? So what good is that, you know? And like Dawn said, I don't like being shit on. I agree. Don't shit on me. Yeah. And, yeah, and I had to find this road myself. I mean, I certainly, if you go back into my early videos, I mean, I was reading Hilton Hotema and Martha Christie, and, you know, I was reading all these things, and I was becoming, like, determined, you know, to be a breatharian, you know, and a fruitarian, and I got real rigid about my whole regiment. And it didn't serve me in the long run, because what I was doing is stressing myself out, thinking that I had to do it a certain way, and, you know, look at me, and you know, I'm doing turpentine and diatomeous earth and enemas and body rubs and, you know, washing my eyes and my hair and blah 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 blah, you know, and you know, it was like building a pedestal to stand on. And I realized, you know, if you go through, I mean, this is what's been interesting about going back and re-editing the poems, because, you know, I had right from the beginning the idea of making a documentary film. That's why I did and have done and continue to do what I'm doing, is that I had a complete journal of what I was doing and how I was doing it. And so it takes you on a complete, you know, storyline. It's all about a storyline. And how many different transits and turns, and, you know, I've moved sideways and forwards and backwards, and, you know, I mean, I've moved in every direction, but the one thing I've maintained is my authenticity, you know. I mean, I'm not here to pretend to be anything. I'm just being me. And I'm really happy with me. You know, I don't have any trouble sleeping at night.
I mean, you have to do everything with intent anyway. It's like, the difference between fasting and starvation is intent. You know, people go, oh, I can't go on a urine fast because, you know, that's, I'm not eating, I'm starving. And that's because you've gone into it mentally wrong. You've gone into it with the intent that you're going to be hungry. You need to go into a fast. Mentally, you have to prepare yourself for a fast.
Yes.
If you go into it with intent that this isn't about starvation, this is about purification. This is about, you know, flushing my body out with toxins and sugars and things that don't need to be in there. You won't get hungry. You will find that you will have less hunger pains and less hunger awareness. But if you go into not eating, just because you haven't eaten, you'll get hungry. You'll feel, you know, I'm starving, I'm so hungry, I haven't eaten. Because your mindset is not fasting. Its mindset is, I need food. So you go into it with starvation, and your body will feel that starvation. But when you go into a fast with intent of healing and cleansing, you can last a huge amount of time through that element by just going into a correct mindset.
Yes. Well, and I went through several fasts. The first one was only 3 days. The next one was 7, and then like 11, and then like 13, almost 14 days. And they got easier. The first one was because I'd never done a fast in my life. I mean, you know, it was like a totally foreign idea to me. And the same with the first enema. I mean, you know, and doing all these things. First time out was like, okay, you know, here goes. But now, I mean, I really accept them, appreciate them, love them, and, you know, embrace them. You know, the difference is amazing of how I feel as a result of them. But here's something I tell the people, you know, when they're doing their fast or any of that, and I'll say, so are you feeling like hunger? I mean, are you going through? Oh, yeah. And I said, well, you know what? It's not really hunger. You know what it is? No, what's that? I said, your parasites are screaming at you. You got to clean that shit out, because your parasites are what are causing all of that in your stomach. That's what's, you know, they're the ones that are hungry, and you're listening to them, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's all relative. You know, your process is your process, and that's why I don't tell anybody how to do it. I mean, you know, I say, well, drink your pee. You know, that's pretty straight up, but you know, if you, whatever your experience, feeling, doing, having, it's your experience. You become the healer. You become the one who decidedly knows what's going on with your body. You know, so if you can't adopt or adapt an idea that works for you, and you're depending on everybody else to pull you through. Now, it's healthy to ask questions. I mean, you know, do your research. Ask. I mean, certainly that's what the groups are for. You know, that's why I jumped right in, and I was in all these groups and reading books and practicing. But more importantly, I was listening to my body. You know, once I stopped listening to everybody else, and so through my own experience, I now have a brighter viewpoint of that. And I tell people, trust your experience, listen to your body, you know, do the process, if you know, take it in baby steps if that's what's necessary for you, you know, and it doesn't really matter. I don't care. Well, you know, I'm on meds. Well, I drink, I do that. I said, you know what? I mean, in all the research I've done, none of that really matters. You know, what's going to matter is that your pee might not taste very good, but it won't kill you. Nobody in history in 5,000 years has been recorded of dying because they drank their pee. Not one. So, you know, drinking your pee isn't going to kill you. Maybe all that other shit will. Slow suicide, you know. So, yeah.
It's about being intuitive. And I mean, once you're more intuitive and listen to your body, I mean, if you've never listened to your body, it takes time. It's a foreign thing, you know. It's like any skill. Yeah, the more you do it, the better you get at it. It's like being a chef. It takes years to train to be a chef. If you want to be intuitive and listen to your body, it takes training. You know, do it small steps. Do it for a couple of days. Get back into it, and soon you become used to that idea, and you start to hear the things that your body's telling you. Because we're very good at ignoring things around us.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of things we don't want to admit about ourselves too. It's very hard to look at ourselves sometimes. But the beauty of urine therapy, it just helps you come accustomed to that. You know, it helps you get used to the idea that, you know, it's not toxic, it's not harmful. It's, you know, you're only digesting parts of yourself which your body uses and utilizes, and it's just a slow, natural progress of learning to listen to yourself. You know, I go on fast when my body says, okay, well, you need to go on a fast. My body screams when I need to go on a fast. There's days where I just go, nah, you don't need to eat today. It's just not a day for me. My body says no food. You know, and some days I can go up to 5 days. That's probably the longest I went on. And I got nervous after 5 days. I thought, I better eat, because otherwise I'm never going to eat again. You know, and I felt so clean and so clear, and vision was like so sharp. Colors were in Technicolor, and you know, it was incredible. And I was just like, wow, you know. And I only got nervous because it was day 5, and I thought, I haven't eaten for 5 days. This is ridiculous. I'm not hungry. You know, when will my body tell me I need to eat again? So I just panicked instead of listening to my body. But you know, it's a good stretch. You know, it's you know, great to listen and be more intuitive with your inner world.
Well, when I was on the longest fast, and my body, I went through a massive detox, and I overdosed on my practitionering. I was doing the turpentine, the diatomeous earth, the enemas, the body rubs, looping, and I hit a wall. I mean, I really hit a wall, because I thought, man, what are you doing to yourself? But when I went on this, the longest fast, I dropped down to 144 pounds. Now, at my highest weight, I was 246, so we're talking 102-pound differential, and my skin was just hanging on me. I mean, I really looked like one of those men in a, you know, old men in a gym that you say, here, man, can you put on a towel? You know, I couldn't even look at myself. It looked ridiculous. But I knew I was detoxing, and this is the point I want to make, is that my body, and including the muscles, including all of these areas of my body, had all those inorganic materials, and they were leaving my body. And that's what was happening, and I knew that. And now my body's in a perfect tone. And I don't go working out or do anything. I don't do any, I mean, I walk and I play golf and things like that, but I don't go to any length to, you know, get a ribbed and a six-pack or, you know, big pecs or, you know, any of that shit. But my body's in perfect...
You do have to go slow. I mean, you have to be kind to your body. You can, you know, send your body an overload by too much information. You know, what you did was overloaded your body.
Yeah.
And by doing, you know, an extreme, you know, element of everything. Whereas, you know, just pull back. I mean, it's a great experiment, so you know what can happen when you go over the limit. Your body just, you know, if you're sick, it's very tough because you need that energy. So I wouldn't recommend overloading a body, but you know, just pull back when you feel it's too much. You will have detox symptoms, headaches and fevers and rashes and things like that if you're really, really quite toxic. But, you know, you can just pull back and I always say, just be kind to your body. You know, it's the only one you've got. So be kind to your body and take it easy. You know, I've been doing this therapy now probably 9 years. I go the long and steady, slow road. You know, I'm taking it easy. I find when I stop, I see ridiculous amounts of effects when I stop. Straight away when I go on a little break and I go, okay, I'm not going to drink for a couple of days, bang, I start feeling other stuff coming out. You know, it's like, wow, I got to get back onto this thing, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't stop.
Yeah, well,
as soon as I have little breaks, I get a cold or I get a flu or I have a cold sore breakout. I have all these other elements that go on in the body, which is not a bad thing. I don't mind having colds and fevers because it's a way your body's flushing stuff out. It's getting rid of things. But, you know, by doing the therapy, they're never as hard. They're never as severe. They're more mild. They don't last as long either, which is great. You know, so I just make it a softer journey through the process, which is always good.
And that's what I totally have readopted my experience. I'm pretty consistent about eating primarily fruit, you know, as the main, you know, and greens. And, you know, stick pretty much to a 1 meal a day on an average. So I'm intermittently fasting on a daily basis. But I don't ever not drink my pee. Never, you know, and I don't think I ever will. I mean, from the day I started there, I haven't missed a beat. I mean, I haven't skipped one day. And I do my looping usually only 2 or 3 times, maybe 4, because being on an intermittent fast, it just runs right through me. I'll be peeing every 10 minutes. I mean, I just peed in the glass while we were sitting here on the interview, and I got to pee again because, you know, I mean, it's just like that. I'm a pee factory, man. I mean, it's amazing how much pee I can produce. You know, it's just crazy to me, you know, how much I can actually produce, you know.
When I was in Japan, I got to meet Dr. Hinohara, very famous doctor. He had a conference on in Japan when I was there, and his point to longevity was eat less. And he too only had 1 meal a day. And studies show that less food does create longevity. And he wanted to live to 120. That was his goal. I got to meet him when I was there, and we discussed a little bit about urine therapy and things. Unfortunately, he passed away this year, but he made it to, I think it was 105.
Yeah, that's a healthy, you know.
Yeah, and you know, he was a healthy guy when I met him at 100. I went to his 100th birthday, you know, but he definitely believes for longevity for the body was eat less. And he had a very strict diet of certain foods, which most people in Japan couldn't handle. They tried his diet, but they couldn't do it. But that's, you know, you've got to find what works for you. You know,
yes.
Some people aren't comfortable with that. Not everybody wants to live to 120 either.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Well, you know, 4 years ago, I was waiting to die, man. I literally was just like, I couldn't drink enough alcohol, eat enough meds, smoke enough pot. I was in so much pain. It was just like, what in the fuck am I doing here? Why am I hanging around? But, at this point, going on 65, I'm not even anywhere near, halfway through my life. Minimum. I'm going in reverse. People say, dude, you look 15 years younger, when you look at your earlier videos. And, and thank you. But I feel it. I feel my reversing. I do feel the age reversing. I feel more alive in every aspect of my body, mind, spirit, and heart, and everything. I feel it, and I know it's the P. I know it's the P.
The fountain of youth.
Yeah, I totally. I mean, I just swear by it. I do.
I mean, Andrew talks about the fountain of youth and longevity and how we shouldn't be dying at early death of 100. It's ridiculous and so forth. But at the end of the day, we're all spiritual beings. We come from another place out there, and for me, I don't mind crossing over to the other world.
Right.
That to me is my other spiritual connection, my other half. So, when you're ready to leave, you'll leave when you're ready to go. It's not necessarily, the oldest person on the planet lives in China and is 170 something plus, and lives in a little cave and sleeps pretty much all day. I'm thinking, what's the point?
Yeah. Well,
I'd rather be traveling to different universes by that stage.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, Hilton Hotema, he wrote a little book like We Never Die, and I agree with that. That we are spiritual beings. We're wearing a meat suit. We're here on this mission, whatever that mission is. It's up to every individual to discover that for themselves. But I have no fear of death. I just don't have any fear of death. And so whenever that appears, what difference does it make? I'm just going to leave the meat suit and go on with the next level of the journey, which is all vibrational energy, which, when you get into those ideas that we're nothing but energy, we never go away. You can't get rid of me that easy. But if in Hilton Hotema's book, in Man's Higher Consciousness, the longest guy on record was Chinese, and he lived to I think it was 378 or something like that. Had something like 22 wives, 300 and 400 children, grandchildren, great grandchildren. His hair grew back from gray to black 4 times. He regrew teeth. And I saw a picture of him recently. People have been posting it online, I don't know what age he was at the point that picture was taken, but, he put some years on that face. No doubt, it's pretty remarkable, though. So, we can. By design, and I think that's more important to realize than anything, that by design we weren't really designed to ever really die. Our consumption is what kills us. We slowly poison ourselves. It's a slow suicide. I heard yesterday or this morning, I think it was yesterday, I had to go in and get gas and protein, and I had the radio on. Anyway, there was some contest or something like that, these ridiculous contests on the Super Bowl or whatever. This woman ate 501 chicken wings in 30 minutes. And they were going, isn't that great? And I'm thinking, are you out of your fucking mind? 501 chicken wings in 30 minutes? I mean, are you kidding me? That is insane. That's insane. What people will do for notoriety is beyond me. I mean, it's just crazy. It grosses me out too. Carol says, gross. I said, yeah. I heard that and I went, oh God, really? Yuck. Yeah.
Americans very good at encouraging bad eating habits. Like, there's so many restaurants with the big, massive burgers or the massive steak if you eat it before, a time frame.
Yeah.
You get it for free.
Yeah.
And a T-shirt. It's like, why would you bother poisoning yourself with that?
Yeah. It is. It's insane. Like this one, I think it's Hardee's or something. I mean, and they sold their burgers like with, models dripping sauce on their chest and shit, And I mean, these are gross, man. I look at these things and they're like, 3 giant patties, a half a pound of bacon, 15 slices of cheese. I mean, whatever, a rib and chicken wings. I mean, what they put together and you're supposed to like eat this thing. And I'm like, God, what's wrong with people? It's insane. It's just insane to me. Yeah. So, Diana says 501 chicken wings. She's lucky to be alive, and I agree, Yeah. So,
I think I need to now head out very soon, because I'm about to get a phone call from LA.
Yeah. You want to reveal any of that, or is that you want to keep that on the cuff? You mentioned that to me earlier.
Well, I mean, I'm in the process of looking for distribution, so it's basically now scouting distribution companies and so forth. So I just got a meeting set up with one company in LA at the moment. So who have viewed the film. So we don't know. We'll see how we go. It just depends whether it works for them.
Right.
Ideally, the goal is to get it out there amongst, other television networks, Netflix and so forth. So, it's a big process. And it's not, it's not always easy. So, I'll be having a conference call going on in a few moments.
Well, I so respect your time, and I so appreciate you sharing all your wisdom, and I am so jazzed about you and your film. I'm just like, you're on a roll, bro. I mean, you're getting your payback, getting the awards, getting the nods. I mean, that's I know the process. I so understand what you're going through, and I just you're a champion, bro. To make it work. So
it's certainly been a journey, that's for sure. It has its ups and downs with making films, and
I got one last question though before you split, and a couple of people have asked me about this, and it came up again, and it was something about you being hacked. Do you have any comment about that?
Well, YouTube is changing what they're doing. I think that they're sensitized. It's driven by sponsorship these days. And again, I understand if you're a sponsor and you want to advertise on YouTube, you want to make sure that your advertising dollars going to the right people.
Right.
However, there's been about probably 15 videos of mine that have been taken off advertising things on it, so they've refused to advertise on some videos. And then one day I noticed, Peter noticed that about 15 of my videos just went missing, and I have no idea where they've gone. Some of them I saved, some of them have just gone forever. So I'm sort of slowly posting up some stuff. Look, I don't know whether it was just whether they were pulled or whether it was hacked, so I changed all passwords and stuff like that. But it just mysteriously vanished.
Yeah, I demonetized.
I'm not into a conspiracy or anything. It
right.
Could have been something that happened.
Yeah, I put everything into an external hard drive myself. I back up everything. I learned that in film school. Back it up, man.
Yeah.
And I demonetized my channel. I said, hell with it. I'm not even bothering anymore. I mean, to have drug commercials running on my UT videos, I think that's hilarious. But I just bailed on it. So anyway, we won't keep you. I know you got an appointment, and thank you again, Steve, for all your time.
All right, pleasure. Thanks everyone for listening in.
Yeah, you're getting lots of love over here, man. They're giving you tons of thumbs up and appreciate you very much, and it's all love, bro. So,
Pleasure.
I'm going to close.
Thanks to everybody.
I'm going to close out the show with a couple of announcements. So if you need to bail out and get to your phone call, all respect, my friend. Love you dearly. All right. Okay.
Bye.
All right, man. See ya. Yeah, wasn't that great? Oh man, what a pleasure. What an honor to have that man with us today on the show. And so I'm just going to wrap it up myself. We've gone into 2 hours, and I just want to remind people that you can help support Stephen and the Urine Aid at GoFundMe and just plug in Urine Aid. I want to remind you about the Water Life Symposium, which happens in September 21st, 2nd, and 3rd in Las Vegas at the Westgate. You can go to wateroflifesymposium.com and register. It's only $35. I also welcome anybody who would like to donate towards the ORIN Oracles book, which I am in the final stages of re-editing. It will have 147 poems. And if you want to donate, that's at paypal.me/Weedu. $25 will get you a guaranteed signed and numbered book. And also, I welcome anybody who wants to make any comments. If you've enjoyed my poems over the year and have any thoughts or comments, I welcome you to send them in to Weedu SHIVAMBU at gmail.com or gmail.com. And if you want to be in the book as somebody who has read my poems and appreciate them or anything like that, it's something that I felt would be welcome if you choose to. And if you do donate, you will also be included in the book in the loving acknowledgments for those who showed support. And so thank you all again for joining us. This has really been an awesome, awesome experience, and I love you all for being with us. And, have a beautiful, wonderful, marvelous day. And keep your piece together, and boom, you just been loved. Ha ha! Bye now.